Hey everybody, welcome back to the last episode of Enigmatica 2 Expert Pack. Yes, I know it has been almost 2 months since the last episode, and that's definitely my fault. Not gonna lie and say anything was going on in particular, it really was just such a slog to get through. The end game of this pack is rough, and I'm just gonna warn you that there is so much cutting in here because so many things just took hours of my time. It's not the pack's fault, of course, it really is my way of playing it that resulted in me spending this long. I really am just stubborn. But I want to thank you all for watching in advance. This is a long one, and I really appreciate all the support you guys have given to the channel. With that all being said, let's begin. Alright, so looking at the creative gas tank, we have a few items that we need to make, and some that we haven't seen before. First one that we haven't seen before is rocket fuel from Ender.io. It's actually very easy. It is just a chemical reactor with gunpowder, redstone, poisonous potatoes, and water. Not going to be too difficult. Once we get that, we can dupe it forever, throw it in buckets, and make the gas tank. We need Bonitoite, which takes a combination of items, much more magically related. A few of them will be pretty painful to make. The Ender Star, the Resonating Gems, Draft of Angelus, Ethereal Slates. This is going to be brutal, but it's just resource gathering. We've seen everything here before, except these slates, which take a tier 5 blood altar, so we're going to have to really just spend a lot of time clicking buttons. Finally, on the new things is the creative gas tank frame. That's just going to take 5 slurries: titanium, iridium, draconium, boron, and mithril. Nasty, but not terrible. We need the ore for all of those, I do believe. And then deuterium, tritium fuel, hydrogen chloride, sulfuric acid, and ethylene. So pretty much every chemical processing line in Mechanism. And finally, the creative fluid tank, which we can make. We've already made one. I don't want to sacrifice our current one, so we're just going to make another one. And that's just going to take a bunch of other stuff that we've already seen before. The biggest one here for us now is just going to be recrafting some ultimate ingots. Just going to see if we can make 200. I'm not going to bother doing the math. It looks like we're only missing enhanced ender ingots, which just means we need some more ender stars. They're not terrible. The dragon's breath is pretty painful, so we are going to have to find another dragon. Everything else has been effectively automated, and we're going to need at least 50 for the enhanced ender ingots, and then a few for some cosmic meatballs, and a few for Bonitoite, and more than a few, because we do need them for the Infinity Catalyst and the creatives, and yeah, there's a lot. But let's make some ender stars. So let's say 100 ender stars, and let's see what we don't have. So it's resonating gems, stardust, and we're missing 17 dragon's breath. That's painful, so are the resonating gems. Luckily, I received an amazing comment telling me that the containment chalice is a way of automating the creation of astral gems. And what this does is allows you to pump in fluids, liquid starlight being the obvious one, which stops the starlight altar from using any of the liquid starlight around us to infuse the gems. It is as simple as time in a bottling and just alternating back and forth. I don't really know any other better way of automating the starlight infuser, but hopefully with the amount of resonating gems we're going to make here, we won't have to make any more ever again. So I'll see you back here when I've finished babying this setup. So I've made all of the resonating gems we need now to go fight a dragon with a bunch of bottles. So here we go. Let's summon the dragon. I have 1,728 glass bottles in here, and I intend on filling them with dragon's breath. So let's get to scooping up some breath mints. So we can start our craft, and that'll just throw all of the items into a barrel for me. And then in the Ender Resonator, I can just start this and speed it up with time in a bottle. And we can start crafting some Ender Stars. And I know, I've done a really terrible job of automating things this playthrough. I suppose after playing Greg Tech, it all feels so easy that I just don't even want to automate it. It feels like I can just get away with not doing anything. But Greg Tech will punish me the next time I try and do that, I promise. So let's make our enhanced ender ingots now. Speed that up because I'm no chump, I'm not waiting. So I am pretty sure now that with all of the enhanced ender ingots placed lovingly into our storage, we can request 200 ultimate ingots. Shouldn't be too terrible. That's gonna suck. Oh, I forgot we also need to make the crystalline ingots. Yeah, okay. That's alright. I'll get back to you when I actually have the 200 ingots. So we made our crystalline ingots. And let's see, what else are we waiting on now? So it's the draconium, the unstable ingots, carbon for some reason, titanium, aluminide, fluxed electrum, lots of things. So as many of the ingots as possible have neatly deposited themselves into our crystal shulker box. And we just need to start bringing these over. But I think that's just brought in... Oh no, those are all just different, extremely similar looking ingots. Nice. We just need all the 64s. Maybe. This is going to start to get confusing pretty quickly. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I shouldn't have ordered more than 64 at a time. We just need to make sure we don't have any double ups. Yeah, this is disastrous with what has ended up occurring here. Oh my gosh. Gotta look for the 64s. There's another one. Alright, there's 64 of those ultimate ingots. So I'll place those back in. Oh, I think the system has crashed because my computer crashed during that. Alright, well, I'm going to fix that so that we get our full 200 ultimate ingots. And then we'll continue with progression. Alright, so there's the 200. That was decently painful. Let's just keep crafting as much as we can. So we're going to need 4 resonant frame cells for the tank. And it looks like none for the gas tanks. That's fine. We'll just ask for 4 of those then. And we can't because of mana powder. Hilarious that we're out of mana powder. Right. We should probably turn the magnet off when we're going to do this. Right. There we go. Put that back in there. Right. And let's make sure now we can get 4. I think the Lapotron crystals are a constant source of this sucks because it just doesn't work properly. But I guess we'll see. That looks to be working fine. We need 16 of these massive large drums. And of course, it's demonic large plates. It's just because I'm lazy and haven't automated this step. Well, now we just get to watch this stamp away. Now I can get 16. How much cobblestone does that use? 46,000. Cool. Free. Looks like we're going to need 8 black hole tanks, so we should just make another 4 talismans. They don't stack, of course. And now the fun can begin in crafting 8 mechanism tanks, and we need to make these ultimate tanks, which means we're going to need a lot of these alloys, and this is going to take a while. So getting out 8 ultimate tanks now, which is beautiful. Although it looks like I don't have enough of these ultimate control circuits. Oh, I did just see that they can be replicated. 15 millibuckets of UU matter. Well, I may as well just make 1 and then just replicate it. That would have saved me so much time. I didn't realize I could replicate them. Oh, that's funny. Alright, well, let's go put that in the replicator. Yeah, I've never replicated it. Right, well, if you haven't seen how to replicate, you place your crystal memory in the bottom, and then you place what you want to scan on top, and you just speed it up if you've got the power for it. Which looks like we do, because this process takes a while. And the scan is completed. We'll save it to the disk, put that in the pattern storage. We will import from crystal, and then we can go along and find it. There it is. And let's just run a bunch of them. My gosh, that's so much easier. And because we've got the creative fluid tank, this whole setup really is useless now. But we may as well just keep it going, because I think we're going to need a lot. Well, there were the other control circuits that I needed for the elite fluid tanks. So that's pretty cool. Didn't know that they were there. And then let's throw all these in and hope that we can craft all 8 black hole tanks. Beautiful. And a quest for some reason. Right, let's throw those in there. Our cell frames are full, so we'll throw those in there as well. We're going to have to use, 4 anglicite. It's not too bad. Anglicite is actually the easier to make. Throw that in there. Let's just set patterns for these. I'm pretty sick of manually crafting them. So the tank takes 4 ultimate catalysts as well, and so does the other tank. So we need 8 ultimate catalysts. A full stack of ultimate ingots already used up. That sucks. That actually just sucks. We'll just put a stack in there as well because I know we need it. Right, what else can we get out of the way? Our drums should be ready. They are. Alright, and let's work on our cores again. I've completely forgotten how to make these. So draconic cores, we're going to need 12 awakened cores. I have to wonder why we need magnesium dust. Is it for crystal binder? It's for crystal binder. Okay, alright. Hold up 1 second. We probably should replace that. This magnesium dust recipe is pretty useless when we don't have any magnesium ore, but we do have 13,000 magnesium ingots. So let's just do that. Then 12 cores should be absolutely achievable. And I think that's just going to throw the extra stuff in here. So we'll just move those around. And I have taken the wyvern cores out of the storage. Man, I'm not doing well today, am I? Let's just see what that's trying to do. As long as it's not trying to craft ingots that we already have, that's all I care about. And it looks like it's not, so we're all good. Now we play the waiting game. Alright, so core crafting. And then we just put nether stars in and start and hope that this just goes fast enough. Alright, cores have been completed. So now it's just the tanks. So let's see if my fluid library has the materials that we need. So I actually do know that out of these tanks we need ethanol, UU matter, primal matter, and tree oil. And there's tree oil, there's ethanol, whoops, UU matter, and primal matter. Very useful, thank you creative tank. So there are those fluids. So I think that's actually already the bones of the craft. So let's get these placed down and then remember how to do all of these nasty buckets. We're just about to put in the final bucket here. And I have to admit, I wonder what I've got wrong here. Right, that's resonant ender, not molten enderium. Okay, that's really dumb of me. That's so funny. I've made molten enderium instead of molten ender. So let me just put that into a tank just to put it in the library. And then I'm pretty sure we can just melt down 4 ender pearls and do that. And there we are. So that's creative tank number 2. All done and dusted in the span of like 15 minutes. That's just insane. 2 creative tanks. Let's get to the gas. Alright, so let's get some of the easier things out of the way for the gas tank. So we're going to need 8 stellar alloy blocks. And that's as easy as just getting the ingots and turning it into blocks, thanks to the creative tank. Next up is Osglow glass, another 8 blocks, and Mirian, also 8 blocks. Now we need neutronium ingots, pressurized tanks, gas charge pads, rocket fuel, and bonitoite. And bonitoite we should just start mass producing. Neutronium is as simple as grabbing 4 buckets of neutron fluid, filling a fluid infuser, and putting in titanium iridium alloy. And we have a neutronium ingot. For some unknown reason, I don't have a recipe for titanium plates. So into the compactor they go, and out come 3 pressurized tanks. Next up are the gas charge pads. We need 4 of these, which means 8 monopropellant fuel tanks. And I think steel sheets need the rolling machine. But what I also think is that we have plenty of tanks up here. So let's just take all of the monopropellant tanks from the rocket, because we have dislocators to get everywhere now. And now we have 4 gas charge pads. And now we need to make 4 portable tanks and upgrade them to Signalum. And this is where the creative tank is going to come in handy. So we are going to need neutron fluid, primal matter, DNA, and UU matter. So neutron fluid into the creative tank and into the tank. UU matter, creative tank, portable tank, primal matter, and liquid DNA. And now we have all 4 of the fluid tanks required for the gas tank. It pays to have a library of just tanks full of fluids so that you don't have to make them ever again. And now let's go in order of simplicity. Rocket fuel is going to be the most simple to make, followed by the Bonitoite, and then the creative gas tank frame. We'll get to this in a sec, but let's start with rocket fuel. And as I said before, it's just a chemical reactor. Or I suppose we could use the vat with hooch, which saves us on making... I think those can go into a tank. Alright, maybe we just make the vat. We don't even need the chemical reactor. And we do already have the vat from when we needed to make vapor of levity. So let's just figure this out. And we'll use our creative tank. And the few spare tanks I just have lying around. So rocket fuel, pretty simple to make. We just need to make hooch first. Hooch is melon or sugar and potatoes. Or flour. Looks like it can be anything, but let's just do melon and potatoes, or sugar and potatoes. Because we have sugar, and we have plenty of potatoes. And if I do that, we've already got a bunch of hooch, which is super easy. So I'll place that in the tank. I'll also remove the water source, so that this can... Maybe I can just do this. There we go. So there's a tank of hooch. And then rocket fuel is gunpowder and redstone. Things that we have hundreds of thousands of, and we only need 1 bucket of this. And that's made 1 bucket of rocket fuel. So there's the creative tank. Boom, infinite rocket fuel. Now let's add it to the library. So, rocket fuel. Ooh, lucky we kept our lucky we kept our hooch because there was enderium in there. So back to the vat for a bucket of rocket fuel, into the creative tank, and there's rocket fuel in the library, and there's hooch, which I'm sure has no other uses. I guess it makes fire water, which is also completely useless. Yeah, amazing, but we'll keep it anyway, just in case. And now we need 8 buckets of rocket fuel, and now we move on to more complicated matters. So now begins the relatively hard part of this journey, and this is going to be Bonitoite. So doing the math for what I want to finish, so doing the math on what I want to say is the end of the game for me, I need 28 Bonitoite. So that needs 28 of all of these. And these are not too bad. So let's just highlight all of them and make sure we actually have 28. I guess it's 27 because we have one already. Gaia Spirits, we have enough. I think we have enough Resonating Gems. I know we have enough Ender Stars and Stardust. Do have enough Dragonstone. We do have enough Mana Diamonds. I'm just going to start grabbing everything out. We don't have enough Pixie Dust nor Mana Pearls. So we need to throw some Ender Pearls into the Mana generation. We definitely have enough Elementium. We need to make Mana Pylons and then Natura Pylons. So it's not too bad of a recipe. Let's just get some Terrasteel Nuggets. And then we need more Mana Diamonds, I believe. So we'll get some Ender Pearls and some Diamonds. And let's throw those in there and those in there. Ooh, I think we actually just ran out of mana in that. But that looks to be enough. Except we need to do some elven trading. So we need to generate more mana. So I'm going to be coming around here and filling up these stores every once in a while. But continuing on for now. So let's actually just put these in their own special chest. So we need to get a few more pixie dust. And we'll just turn these in as soon as we can. But that's done. And we need 27 mana pylons. So we need to take out 32 diamonds and craft up 27 pylons. And there's 27 Natura pylons. Done. And done. Now for the hard part. It's not actually that difficult, but I think the illumination powder is going to be the most annoying part of this because we just have to make niter again. 4221. 4221. Alright, glass lenses are in fusion. Cool. But this won't be too hard. So our colored lens can actually go into an interface here. We'll grab the time in a bottle, speed up the infusion altar, and just start making these into glass lenses. And we just need 27, so this shouldn't take too long. I don't know if there is a way of automating this, but we need to make some more illumination powder. Oh, it's so fast. Oh, that's amazing. I don't even think we need this much, but we'll just make a few more. That should be plenty because we only need 27 times 2, which is 54. Right, and let's ask for 27 purple lenses. I should probably do some duplication with this star metal stuff, but I don't think it's... Yes, I don't think there's that much to be done with it, and it doesn't seem too hard to make. So let's just smash that all down. And now we can ask for our 27 growth lenses. And that should place everything in here. And now we just need to do this process for a while. Oh yeah, nice. Okay, time in a bottle's not going to work. So let me manually craft up all 27 of these. I know that I could make the Starlight infusion altar. Or the Starlight crafting engine. In fact, it probably is worth it. But I really can only automate these things. So, it'll be fine. I'll sit here and baby this for a while, and you'll join me when I have my growth lenses. Alright, so there are the colored lenses, all 27 of them, so painfully crafted. And now the annoying ones. So, Draft of Angelus is absolutely terrible. That's awful, and I'm going to avoid that for as long as possible. But we need to make ethereal slates, and so we actually need to upgrade our blood altar to tier 5. And that means that we need this many blank slates and 4 beacons, because we're currently at tier 4. So, we also, I don't think we need this anymore because of the creative tank. I think if that item conduit connects to it, then I should be able to do that. Insert and extract. Fill a bucket with blood and throw it in the tank. And that's going to fill that up. Good. Now, there's no point in making it that slow. Let's make it as fast as it can be. Wow, that's... deeply troubling at how slow that is. This is an ender fluid conduit, isn't it? I can't make any better, but that is terribly slow. Oh, okay, I can just time in a bottle that to fill it up. But this is going to take 30,000 life points to make a single slate, and we need 27 of them. Gosh. I feel like the creative tank drains much faster than that. Grab a resonant tank and see if it's just interfacing with the creative tank funky. No. Oh, so it's just the blood altar being funny altogether. Might be because we don't have any acceleration runes here, so that this thing is terribly slow. So maybe we'll get some runes there. I know we do need 27 acceleration runes, which take the demonic slate, which is 1500 life points, and also takes a master blood orb. So I don't even know if we have a Master Blood Orb. No, we have a Magician's Blood Orb. So let's get the Master Blood Slate, which is going to require one of our weak blood shards. And we'll just throw that in there. Okay, so there's the Master Blood Orb. And then the Archmage is going to require Gaia Spirit and 80,000. I hope we don't actually need that. No, it looks like we're okay for now, but we do need to make some blank slates. So let's get our Living Rock automation back on track. Start making a lot of blank slates. Wait, can I actually just put that in there? No. Well, let me upgrade the altar. And then I'll come back and we'll see where we need to go. Alright, so the final blood altar has been made on this really dreary Minecraft day. And we have enough blood in here to finally start making some ethereal slates. So these take the demonic slates and 30,000 life points. And we can speed this up because the ethereal slate is the last slate to be made. And we need loads of them. So join me later when I have a bunch more ethereal slates. Well, we don't have all of the slates, but we do have the ability to make the tier 5 orb. Not the tier 5 orb. We do have the ability to make the Archmage Blood Orb, which I'm sure allows us to do something funky, but I couldn't tell you what it is. Do we even need it, actually? It looks like we don't need it, but it's a quest, so we may as well get it. It requires 80,000 life points, so let's just speed this thing up and do that. And that was fast, but now we have it, and we should get 2 quests. It also turns out that if you get enough blood in the altar, you can turn 64 living rock into 64 slates. So thank goodness for that, because I was going crazy doing these one at a time. So I have my ethereal slates. Now let's work on these runes. So charging runes takes a bunch of blank runes, which we definitely have enough, and they take demonic slates, of which we have 4. Now the acceleration runes, and again remember, we're going to need 27 of these, take demonic slates and 4 tanks each. So we need, what, like 2 stacks of tanks or some nonsense like that. So I hope these stack, because if they don't, we're in trouble. But they do. So that's, all my arcane stone is gone. That's probably enough tanks. The rest is super easy, but we need drill speed augment 2s, which are going to require some cake. Would be fantastic if I knew how to do this, because that could be easy. But I think it's probably also going to be just as easy as just making it in our kitchen. So we have wheat, we have eggs, we just need to make some sugar. And sugar, we need 2 stacks of that, and then cakes. And of course they don't stack. What a horrible, horrible, horrible thing to do to someone. Right, I suppose we'll just walk our cakes over then, shall we? I've got good news about the drill speed augment 2s as well. They also don't stack. But luckily, 3 inventory panels is exactly 27. So now all we need to do is make our 54 demonic slates, and that'll be it. So let's just upgrade it like this, I reckon. Except we should set the filter to what we actually need. And now the waiting game begins. Alright, we've got a stack of demonic slates. So acceleration runes, we shouldn't be able to craft more than 27, so shift click should be safe. A safe shift click, very nice. And then charging runes, we'll just grab 27 manually. And we are almost finished with the Bonitoite. We are missing 2 items now. The first one is the complex arcane mechanism, and the second one is the draft of Angelus. And that's a rabbit hole. It's not a terrible one, but it does mean we have to make 3 things that we haven't made in a while. We just have to make pufferfish. The neurotoxin is super easy. Antiseptic is also not too bad, especially because plant oil is free. And the blood shards, I just have to remember how to get those. But once we have them, we can then move on to finishing off the arcane mechanisms. And then we're done with Bonitoite. So let's get ready to batch up some of this draft of Angelus. So the first part of this is going to be plant oil. So potatoes and bone meal. And this is terribly slow. Can we speed it up? Oh, perfect, we can. So 64 plant oil. Now we need to make the antiseptic, which is going to be plant oil, sugar, gold nuggets, mushrooms, and wheat. And time. And then we need neurotoxin, which needs pufferfish. And there's a funny way of making pufferfish, and it's through this alchemical catalyst. We can turn clownfish into pufferfish, we can turn raw salmon into clownfish, and we can turn raw fish into raw salmon. And we've been getting our raw fish from squid pieces, which is just from Pam's Harvest Craft. So I believe all we do is place the alchemical catalyst underneath, and then when we go to throw our fish in there, it converts it. And then we can just convert it to clownfish, and then pufferfish. And now we need to do is throw the pufferfish in the alchemical table, and it'll slowly make us neurotoxin. And then finally the draft of Angelus, which is antiseptic, neurotoxin, sugar, weak blood shards, gas tears, pulverized gold. I actually think it's fermented spider eyes, not sugar. And it is. Perfect. And there we have 32 draft of Angelus. That was horrible, but we only have one more piece to go. And it is in fact one of the easier ones. So only a small amount of Thormcraft to do in this pit here. First we need to make a bunch of iron plates. I'm not going to bother learning how many because that's just for chumps. But I think it is 2 stacks. Also going to need a stack of sticks, 2 stacks of alchemical brass. Then we'll just get ourselves a stack of pistons, 2 stacks of thormium. Then we can just start compacting these into plates. And now for the actual Thormcraft. So we need to make a stack of our simple arcane mechanisms, which means we're going to need some more V crystals. But I do think we have enough. So back to the table, and I think we just need to increase this. Oh, no, I actually have no idea how this generates V. I guess we just get to wait then. So our 64 simple mechanisms are done. Let's make our complex ones, which are going to take a lot of V. And it appears to slowly accumulate the more we have. So I just get to sit here and baby this for the next however long. No, I will not be looking at how to make Thormcraft better. I'm done with it. And there we are, 32 complex arcane mechanisms. That means we should have enough now to make Bonitoite, and enough. So with our beautifully set up hopper automation, let's make ourselves 27 Bonitoite. Here we go. What have I missed? Stardust, Ender Stars, and Resonating Gems. Of course. So Resonating Gems, Stardust, Ender Stars. So Ender Stars, Resonating Gems, and Stardust. Now, why is it not making it? That should be everything. Well, that would be why. There was a Resonant Clathrate on that one. So there we go. This is going to make Bonitoite. And we can add that to the bottom filter to just have that automatically pull out. And after a while, 28 Bonitoite. So with everything else automated, it's finally time to move on to the Creative Tank gas frame. And we're going to need clean titanium slurry. Oh, I can actually just favorite these. Nice. Clean iridium slurry, clean draconium slurry, boron slurry, mithril slurry, DT fuel, hydrogen chloride, sulfuric acid, and ethylene. And we do need 9 ultimate gas tanks, of which we have none. So let's make 9 tanks and start upgrading them. I can unfortunately guarantee that we're just going to need to start requesting a bunch of these alloys again, which just takes a while. So how about I upgrade these and then we'll work on getting the slurries. Alrighty, so let's work out what we already have on this. I actually know that we have sulfuric acid and ethylene already made, and hydrogen chloride is super easy, same with DT. So let's just fill some tanks with these. Did you know that we already actually have an ultimate gas tank with ethylene in it? So we may as well just fill it up. This setup is a callback to like episode 2 or 3 or something. First power generation in the game, which I remade into making mechanism substrates or HDPE pellets. And I can't remember what for. I think it might have been for the plastic. Yeah, it was. But there is a full gas tank. So that is ethylene off the list. Right, and I actually know somewhere around here we have sulfuric acid there. Why do we not have any... there we go. That's been turned off. And there's a bunch of sulfuric acid. So let's get a bucket of that. Can we get a bucket of it? Oh, I really wish I could get a bucket of this. That would be so handy, but I guess we have to do this the hard way. Right, well, we need to decondentrate our sulfuric acid into a liquid, which is appearing that it doesn't want to work. So let's find a way to work around this. Let's get this into a gas tank. Put the gas tank in and condentrate it. Maybe it's the other way around. One of the two, right? I have no idea why this isn't working and why this is saying water. So let's just figure this out again. I hate mechanisms so much. Alrighty, so there we go. The sulfuric acid is in the condensator, being made into liquid sulfuric acid, which if you see the creative tank in my inventory, you'll know exactly where I'm going with this. So now we should be able to get a bucket of sulfuric acid, or not. Maybe the fluid tank. There we go. Infinite sulfuric acid. And now what we do is turn it the other way around, and we want to turn it back into sulfuric acid that can go into... Yes, there we go. Look at this. This is how we're going to do it for all the fluids that we can. So sulfuric acid is done. Hydrogen chloride is super simple. It's hydrogen and it's chlorine, and you smash them together to make hydrogen chloride. We'll grab a bit of that, turn it around, empty it in, liquid hydrogen chloride, into the creative tank, other operation, and then creative tank down. And hydrogen chloride is off the list. We actually do have some deuterium and tritium already stored up from when we were electrolyzing some other things. And we should just be able to put these... Ooh, I guess not. We have to make it into a gas. But we should just be able to put these in a chemical infuser. Right, well, I guess we have to do this the hard way then, don't we? Nope. Is this... I don't understand. Alright, let me figure this out. Alright, so it just appears I had the wrong form of deuterium. You need the mechanism form, not the nuclear craft form. So now we're getting our DT fuel. And now we can turn that DT fuel into liquid DT fuel, slurp it up in the creative tank, and then make it into our DT fuel. Fill up a gas tank, and deuterium tritium fuel is off the list. So now let's move on to the slurries. Now this is only going to require 2 machines, the dissolution chamber and the washer. And what we're going to do here is melt down 8 stacks of ore with sulfuric acid. That'll get us 512,000 dirty slurry. And then all we have to do is smack that into the chemical washer, and that'll turn it into clean slurry. And we should just check that we can actually do it like that. All right, never mind. It looks like we can just use a pipe, which means we probably need to empty this gas tank now of that and figure out why this isn't working with the water source. Maybe it needs to be on top. Okay, just needs to be on top. And then we can just fill this gas tank up with the slurry, and that should be it. So clean mithril slurry is off the list. So 8 stacks of iridium ore straight into the dissolution chamber and into a gas tank for clean iridium slurry, which means that we can check it off the list. We're also going to put in stacks of draconium ore, which means we can also take draconium slurry off the list. The next one, interestingly enough, requires us to get rutile ore, which means we've got to go to our space station and then find out which one takes us to Europa. Yep, we're on Europa. Now we get to just do a really big dig, but we should probably find out where it generates best, which appears to be at y = 20. So after a little bit of mining, we've definitely got enough titanium. So back up to the station. And we're also going to head down to Mercury, this lovely burning hellhole, because boron can be found here. And we need boron for the final slurry. We have everything else except boron. And on Mercury, we find the peak of boron at y = 8. So this is not low enough. We need to go a little bit lower. And we'll make sure we put those in there. And now let's just go on the search for some boron. Well, it actually seems that boron is only going to be found in the dense ore patches. So we're just going to have to mine up these dense ore patches and hope that we get enough boron. There is also sieving we can do, but I was hoping that these would give us enough, and 2 stacks per isn't too bad. Right, so you leave the mining to me, and I'll be back when we have our creative gas tank, I think. And after just some long times of waiting and mining and using a scanner set to boron only, we actually have all of our ultimate gas tanks. I'm not entirely certain why that didn't just work there, but draconium, sulfuric acid, hydrogen chloride, and iridium slurry. And we have the gas frame. Amazing. So that means that we should be able to slap in everything. And of course it's not going to work because of these fluid tanks. So let's manually put them in. We need these ultimate ingots around the sides. We need 1 creative tank, our 3 pressurized tanks, our 4 gas charge pads, 4 ultimate catalysts, 8 different buckets of rocket fuel, 8 stellar alloy blocks, 4 black hole tanks, 4 anglicite, 4 bonitoite, 4 neutronium ingots, 4 osglow glass blocks, 4 mirian blocks, signalum tank of neutron fluid, UU matter, primal mana, and liquid DNA. And here is the creative gas tank. I'll play the quest sound again because we haven't done this in order. Oh, it's fantastic, isn't it? That is 2 creative items now, which means we only have 2 more to go before we can make the creative vending and hopefully make the infinity tools. So with the creative gas tank acquired, what's next? I think next up are the creative generators, the capacitor bank and the generator. I think we have almost every material for this, except we do need to make these draconic energy cores, the rainbow generators, some solar array controllers. I think we should batch craft those. Some nuclear reactors, MFSUs. It actually looks pretty easy. Let's figure this out. So the first one we're going to work on is going to be the creative capacitor bank. This is going to need 20 ultimate ingots and a catalyst. So that's easy enough to take care of. Next up, it needs 8 cell frames. Let's just make sure we actually clear our pedestals in preparation for the next craft. That's all empty, very good. So now we need 8 cell frames. And for some reason we can't because we're missing mana diamonds. Simple enough fix. We can just drain all of our mana in that pool. And then request 8 cell frames. We are also going to need 6 more energy cell frames. We convert them into energy cell frames. Then we can make 8 resonant conversion kits and convert all of them to resonant cell frames. So that's our 8 energy cells already done. We need 4 dilithium crystals, 4 anglicite, 4 bonitoite, 8 elite plating, 4 ultimate induction cells, which we can just craft, 4 pellets of RTG fuel, which is not too bad because we just need big chunks of plutonium, and dense iron plates. So let's make 100 dense iron plates. With our dense iron plates and just allowing the machines to craft this type of plutonium. Oops, I've given myself radiation poisoning. Or not. So we need 4 in the corner. Not looking too shabby so far, just missing a few key components. So we have our 8 resonant cell frames, all nice and full. We're still waiting on our ultimate induction cells. So while we wait, I think it's time to set patterns for the rainbow generator. Now this is going to take a lot. So we need the rainbow generator top half, the rainbow generator bottom half. We need the actual rainbow generator. We're going to need some of these ultimate upgrades, which requires one of these upgrades. So a big long upgrade path, but then we need all the rest of the generators. So we need a culinary generator, a death generator, a halitosis generator, an ender generator, magmatic generator, frosty generator, furnace generator, disenchantment generator, potion generator, slimy generator, survival generator, explosive, heated redstone, pink, and overclocked. Alright, so we need 2 of these. Let's see what we're missing. So we're missing purple blocks, pink wool, enchantment tables, cooked pork chops, lava buckets, pink dye, brewing stands, magical wood, and magical apples. Clearly I've forgotten the nether star generator, and opinium cores, good. Opinium core, good, which is invisible and requires blocks of emerald chorus fruit, then decents, which require red coal. Okay, alright, let's fix this and see if we can craft it. So all the recipes are in. We should be able to request 2 rainbow generators. Okay, we need 2 more magical, we need 1 more magical apple craft, and then blocks of emeralds and blocks of diamonds. Not an issue. You'd think I would have had patterns for these, but oh well. Now, 2 rainbow generators. Maybe 3. 2 it is. Alright, 2 rainbow generators. Start the craft. Doesn't actually look too bad. I reckon the resonator is going to take the longest, but that's okay. And by now, our ultimate induction cells are ready, so we can place these in the corner. And as perfectly predicted, it is the resonator that takes the longest, so I'm just babying it with a time in the bottle. I thought this was going to make it faster, but it doesn't. Turns out you need more of these. Who knew? That's annoying. They say they're different. I think it's just because of the GP power network. So we're just going to have to craft the opinium cores ourselves. So let's find the pathetic one. And if we do that and throw them in, they should get crafted up, right? All right, well, I guess we'll cancel the craft and do it again. Much better. And now we have 2 rainbow generators. And those go next to the catalyst. Now, there's only a few things left. We need some ultimate induction providers, which we need 4 of those. And I'm super happy to see that that actually works. So we'll craft that up. That's going to take a while. And while we're there, we need to look at a processing chain that we haven't looked at before. And that is Californium. I only have 2 of these that I've stolen from Dragon Lairs, and I could go around searching for more, but I found a pretty simple chain to follow that will get us some Californium 250. And it all starts with highly enriched uranium 235, which requires a bunch of 238 and a bunch of 235, which we can just get from isotopically separating refined uranium. But we might actually set a crafting pattern for this so that we don't have to manually try and figure out how much we need. So highly enriched uranium 235, let's get 64. And that'll just run through our isotope separator nice and quickly. And I'm pretty sure we need to put our hazmat suit on. But once we get our 64, I'm so used to flying, I might not be able to reach. No, there we go. We can put this in our fission generator. Ooh, we are gaining heat. Uh-oh. Okay, we need to turn that off. Gaining 14,000 heat is a little bit crazy. So we probably need to redo this setup. But you get the gist. We have to put enriched fuels in. Once we deplete them, we can then turn them into these tiny clumps where we get our plutonium 242 and 239, which helps us make our 239 fuel, which once we decay that into curium 243, 246, we can make 243 fuel, and then we decay that into LCM 243, and then we get berkelium and californium 249, which then we use to make HEB 248. And then once we deplete that, we get Californium 250 and 251 and 252. But first, we have to make sure we're not going to explode our reactor. So we have officially balanced out our heat capacity. Not many reactor cells. So speeding this fusion reactor up is going to be the way to go. And then we're going to get depleted fuel, and that can just slowly filter into our storage. And while we're here babying, let's just keep speeding up our infusing factory. Someone mentioned I don't have the requisite speed and energy upgrades in here. I do. It's just always going to be slow. This is what time in a bottle has to do. But thank you for leaving the comments. I'm always looking for feedback. So with a decent backlog of our HEU2 fuel, we can get our fuel reprocessor going. We get our plutonium, 239 and 240. And to my knowledge, there isn't a better way of getting these two isotopes of plutonium. There's other different types of fuels, but we don't make those. And I didn't realize, oh, we could ingot form this, which means we could, once we get enough of them, just get infinite of them. Okay, no, you can't just make molten plutonium like that. Cool. So now we have tiny clumps of plutonium 239 and lots of 242. Luckily, this is lowly enriched, so we can make 7 pieces of fuel so far. I think it's a very long way down, but we can make molten LEP 239 and then solidify it out into LEP 239. So let's just do that. So we're getting really close. We need to start working on these solar arrays that we have to do. And I think we actually need more than just 4. So creative capacitor needs 4. The creative generator doesn't need any, but the creative vending upgrade needs 2 controller tier 6s. So we're going to need 6 solar arrays. So there are the tier 1s. Yeah, so I'm realizing I'm not actually that smart. I forgot that I had a recipe to start at tier 3. So let's just press start on that. And there are the 6 solar controller tier 3s. Now to upgrade them to tier 4, we need some energy cell frames, some reinforced cell frames, the advanced solar generators, palladium and palladium panels. So let's just start smashing out a bunch of these. And we need our yellow crafting table. So let's just slap those in the middle. And we'll get those around the sides. Gonna need 6 filled cell frames, 18 energy cell frames. And then with the batch craft of a bunch of advanced solar generators from Mechanism, we should just be able to shift click away. And then the last clicks for our solar controller tier 4s. And those can go on the sides here, which means we need to upgrade all of these to tier 5 and 2 of them to tier 6. And it honestly could be worth upgrading our existing ones as well to tier 5. It doesn't look that expensive. We do need to set a few recipes. We need some large solar panels, which make basic solar panels, and then high voltage solar arrays, which is going to be a crafting tree. So I'll get back when we can start requesting these. So to upgrade to tier 5, we're going to see if we can upgrade 8 of them, which means we need 32 large solar panels, very easy. 160 ionite solar cells, just expensive on tin, but free basically. 32 hardened cell frames, 16 high voltage solar cells, which we can't make because we don't have enough plastic, nor do we have enough oak logs for some bizarre reason. So I guess that's where most of our waiting's going to be. And the rubber factory is working along here. I'm sure there's better logs than spruce, but this is basically what it is. Maybe we find a better way of doing this. It really does just look like it's going to be taking rubber wood and throwing it through extractors to get rubber. Or just playing the waiting game. You know what? It's so not that. Why am I so stupid? I literally have the creative tank. I'll just do that. And that'll immediately fill that up. And we're going to need to rectify the water issue, it looks like. That'll fix the water issue. And let's see how fast we can make this with some energy upgrades and some speed upgrades. Gosh, I really hope that's not the maximum speed it can go at. Maybe if we time in a bottle these two things, we can just get... Yeah, that's better. and then some extraction upgrades. And this shouldn't take long at all. I'm just kidding. It's going to take ages. But we'll just let this run, do what it does. And get back to some of the other things. So we've got our ironite cells. We have our 32 large solar cells. What else do we need? We need some elite plating. We can just make a bunch of that. It's free. And 16 signalum cells filled. And we're out of large electrum plates. Yeah, which can only be made these two ways. That explains why we're out of them. I gotta dupe this. I've just realized I haven't actually duplicated any electrum. So I've gathered up everything. We just need to make sure we can make some high voltage solar panels. We only need 16 of these, and it looks like we still don't have enough. I don't know, 87,000 dry rubber? That's a pretty extreme amount, but I don't think there's going to be a better way of doing this than just mass making latex processing units. And would you believe it? That's what we've done. All we need to do now is place the creative tank, enable extraction mode, put in the upgrades, and watch the rubber fly in. So this is 34 latex processing units. Looks like everything is getting enough water, and that is a fair bit more rubber. It's still nowhere near enough, but it's better than nothing. Actually looks like it's not getting enough water. I might have to place more of these. I'm aware that we could use the kitchen sink, but I haven't made the infrastructure for that. So we might just use our infinite water sources. I think this is probably going to be as simple as just changing out the recipe here. That might make the solar panels a bit easier to make, given we have 237,000 spruce logs. I don't know where the wood's coming from. What is it trying to make? Why do we need 65,000 oak logs? For the LV transformers, yeah? Looks like it. I think I found the culprit. The culprit is this processing pattern that is trying to make 6 oak planks from 1 oak log and producing a sawdust. And I actually think that the sawmill recipe to make these spruce logs is going to be a little bit more useful. So let's see if that changes the oak. Now it says we need even more oak logs. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why it's trying to get this many oak logs. I couldn't see it, so let me figure this out. Okay, problem solved. It was actually the gears required for the furnace. And now it's saying it can use silverwood planks. I just had to change the allow substitutions. So now we just have to wait for the tiny dry rubber, which that was always going to be the case. So I think I've waited long enough now. We can finally make our high voltage solar panels. And I know we need 16, and we still can't craft it. And that would be because the storage is too big. Wow. All right, let's upgrade a CPU then. So we'll make 8 256K storage parts. You know, I probably should have checked if we can actually even make it, and it looks like we can't. So we'll just have to make another big batch of crafting units and slap some more on here. Big crafting CPU combined with a lot of our materials, an insane amount of things. Let's get that going. And then once that's done, we'll have our solar panels, all of them at tier 5. And even looking ahead to make them into tier 6, we need 4 high voltage solar panels each. Luckily, we only need 2 of them. So that's 8 more solar panels for the final craft. But everything else doesn't actually look that bad now that I'm looking at it. Given we've got basically everything, the hardest part's going to be the infinity ingots. So I think in total we need 20 more high voltage solar panels. And that'll take a while. So lots of waiting. Oh well, I'll see you back when we get the creative generators. 16 solar panels done and dusted. That took ages. Now we can craft up 4 tier 5s. All of these need to be upgraded again, of course. Except these 2, which go into the creative capacitor bank. And we are going to get a quest for this. Mildly underwhelming. All the other quests are locked behind the creative EU. No idea why, but whatever. Let's get that done. So next up on the checklist is going to be the creative generator. And this is actually not too difficult. We have seen everything before. We just need to actually pull it all together. So we're going to need 12 pellets of RTG fuel. We're going to need another rainbow generator, which is missing some magical wood. Oh yeah, just magic stuff. Now we can press craft. We need 4 the ultimate catalysts, 4 ultimate induction cells. Somehow we're missing a recipe for bricks. So now we can request 4 induction cells. We need 12 induction providers. That's a little bit more expensive. And it looks like our crafting CPUs aren't big enough. Well, we'll just have to wait for the other one to become available. Let's see what else we need. 12 anglicite, like so. 8 buckets of UU matter, placed neatly around the edges. Rainbow generator goes in the middle. We can now request our 12 induction providers. And now we need to set a few recipes. We need to set MFSUs, nuclear reactors, and fusion cores. And then everything else we've seen, we can just request and craft. So we can get our 4 fusion controllers, 8 nuclear reactors, And once the CPU is freed up, 12 high voltage solar arrays. And here we are, after some more waiting, press the click, creative generator. Very nice. So it's finally time to tackle the creative vending upgrade. Now, I thought this was going to be a lot harder, and I might regret saying that, because I know that the infinity ingots are the hardest part, but the rest of it doesn't actually look too difficult, and we should be okay. So let's start putting it all together and see where we run into some problems. We are going to need 16 ultimate catalysts, which we can do, and those go around like so. We're gonna need 4 blocks of crystal matrix, which it appears we're just a few ingots short of, but that's pretty simple. We need 4 anglicite, 4 bonitoite, 4 aethium blocks, 12 full resonance cell frames, which are missing mana diamonds again. So we'll get some of those and request the frames. And now we have lots of recipes to set. So we need to set recipes for the draconium chest, for the black hole unit, for the 16,384k storage component. We're also going to need the creative essences. And then after that, the big boys, the solar array controllers, the infinity ingots, and we need 4 chaotic cores. But we're also going to need 2 more chaotic shards because our draconic reactor core requires a chaos shard. So let's get to pattern setting and replicating. So with our tier 6 solar arrays done, there's now only 2 items that we need. I'm sure they happen to be the absolute hardest, but that's alright. So first off, we need the Twilight Forest Master Trophy. That's just going to require every single trophy around a crystal matrix, so we get to go fight more Twilight Forest things. And then the Infinity Ingot, which is definitely by far the worst. So we actually have no issues making neutronium ingots, crystal matrix ingots fine. It's these catalysts and singularities that are going to be the big spend. And infinity catalysts take all of these things, which means each one of these needs 10,000 items of each. And luckily we have all of these in abundance, but then we need to make 11 of those, plus 2 ultimate singularities, which require a little bit more. So not only all of these, but it's also going to need the mithril singularity, the platinum, iridium, enderium, manulum, black quartz, hard carbon, magnesium diboride, thorium, fluxed electrum, fluix, and titanium. So I do think that that means we need 13 singularities right now for all of these. So from coal all the way to steel. And then we need 2 extra singularities of all of these. So that's gonna take a lot of crafting. And I'm gonna mow through that in the background, I think. I'm not sure if there's any reason to show me putting in 4 million items. Not worth it. So I'll see you back when I have all of the singularities. You would not believe the levels of nonsense that have occurred between those last 2 clips. This is an insane amount of waiting. I know I'm probably not doing this in the most ideal way, being crafting with export buses into a quantum compressor. I'm sure there's better ways to do it, but so far we're here. And that means that we can actually now start making our infinity catalysts. That's thrown everything out of my inventory. Cool, but we need 11 of these. I know I did originally plan on making more, but I'm not going to anymore. Not with how long this has taken. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 11. So now the only thing left to craft up are the ultimate singularities, and they just take a few more singularities that we need to craft up. They only take 2 each, so that's not too bad. So let's get to making the rest of the singularities. And not too bad was it. Ultimate singularities crafted. So now the last thing we need for the infinity ingots is just a bunch of neutronium ingots. And that's pretty easy. It's just titanium iridium with neutron fluid. Titanium iridium, neutron fluid, and a fluid infuser. Can you believe that this is as fast as these machines can get? And this is how slow it is? And here we are, the big moment. We have an infinity ingot. Maybe we don't hold that in our hand. It almost crashed my game just then. Now, you probably might be wondering, but Drip King, we need 2 infinity ingots, not 1. Like, we can just dupe it. Super easy. Melt it down. Creative tank. Infinity. So let's not waste time. Let's melt it down, bring it up, and get it in. Now, are we going to need thousands of infinity ingots? Absolutely not. It's honestly barely used in anything. But now there's only one item left, the Twilight Forest Master Trophy. So we need 4 trophies to go. We need the Hydra, the Snow Queen, the Questing Ram, and the Mini Shroom. I know how to do all of those, except the Questing Ram. So let's just do these 3, and then we'll figure out what to do. Well, that was joyous. Of course, I lost all of the footage of me actually doing all of the Twilight stuff. That's just great. Perfect. Well, here we are anyway. We have our trophy, and that should be the last thing that we need for the creative vending upgrade. Here's the moment of truth, and here we go. And that's it. We have completed the main challenge of Enigmatica 2 Expert Pack. We have all 5 of the standard creative items. I know there's more, but I'm finished. This mod pack has been a journey to play. Now, at some times it's been painful, and at some times it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed environmental tech. The magic in this mod pack wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be, but it was still enough to be present. But I thoroughly enjoyed the different ways of generating resources, going from having to mine to stonework factories, sieving, into an ender chest that goes into sag mills, being my main way of getting materials. Astral sorcery, not my favorite. Nuclear craft as well. Okay, it wasn't too bad. But the real meat and potatoes was the applied energistic system, which saved me countless hours in requesting crafts. If you don't know how to use it, you must in this type of pack. And I'll be honest, I loved the gated nature of this pack. Having to go from low tier all the way up to higher tier mods, absolutely fantastic. I am a little bit sad to see that the sort of mystical agriculture resource generation, environmental tech was really slow to begin with, but I liked it. I liked needing to use sieving and sieving requiring Botania, everything basically coming out of thermal foundation, and how extremely overpowered the matter fabricator and replicator were in this pack. Absolutely insane. Now, after playing this, I certainly see why Enigmatica 2 Expert Pack is one of the most downloaded mod packs in the history of Minecraft. This has been a joy to play, and I hope you have all enjoyed the ride, going from shorter episodes to 2 very, very long episodes. I'm a bit ashamed of myself for not really finishing the base. I had big plans for this, and they never eventualized. But who knows, for the next one, there might be an even better base. So thank you again for all of the support on this series. It's taken a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I've enjoyed it nonetheless. And if you want to see more from the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want updates on all of my upcoming projects, then join the Discord. I'm decently active there, and become a YouTube member for some extra perks, as well as some new stuff coming soon. Now, with that all being said, thank you, and I'll see you next time.